You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brummel.
Thank you for joining us on American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brummel, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Glad to be here.
Jeff Wagstaff.
Thanks for having me.
And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon waving at us, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute. Thank you for being here.
Hi.
So we all know that spine surgery is never something you just want to rush into. But when you've exhausted those conservative type treatments and you've tried chiropractic care, physical therapy, sometimes people are trying acupuncture, nothing seems to be working, then you need to seek out true pain resolution. And you can do so by visiting Bonati.com, where they have 98.75% patient-reported satisfaction. Nowhere do you see those sort of numbers routinely, and they have over 50,000 successful procedures performed. So if you are suffering, even with migraine headaches or RSD, make sure you call 855-267-0483. And we have a very exciting show lined up for you. Mm-hmm. We're going to be talking to Caitlin Shetterly about genetically modified organisms. That's something that never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah, it's always a good topic.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Kenneth Kuzi, he's got some really cool liver disease research. So you make sure you pay attention. And then, of course, you'll hear what's new in American medicine today. But up first...
In today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
It is my pleasure to introduce to the program John R. Graves from Columbia, Missouri. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for asking me.
So why don't you tell us how you came to be in pain? Were you in some sort of accident, or do you think it was degenerative in nature? Can you kind of explain that?
Yes, I've had a bad back for since I was young. I have stenosis.
Okay.
And of course, when I first got the pain, I was running. I used to be real athletic,
mm-hmm.
and I had debilitating pain down my right leg at that time, the front part of it. And finally went to a well-known normal surgeon around in my hometown here in Missouri.
Okay.
I had open back surgery.
Ooh.
And actually was worse after. They sent me to rehab here, physical rehab,
mm-hmm.
which was totally unsuccessful. And they were trying to rehab before I was well, which is ridiculous. But
yeah.
John,
anyway,
just not to interrupt you, but just out of curiosity, when you had that open back surgery, what was the recuperation time on that?
I never did recoup, really. I mean, I don't know how long it would have taken just for the surgery to recoup, but I was worse after the operation, so I don't know. Can't really give you a definite answer, but I was in pain after that for probably 2 months, maybe.
Hate to hear that.
And we hear that a lot from people that go through traditional open back
Yeah,
surgery.
it
2-3 months and still weren't fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So, to be honest with you, I started praying.
Okay.
And after about a week of that and trying to listen, popped in my head laser back surgery.
Okay.
I went to the internet, and entered that, and Bonati Clinic came up.
Mm-hmm.
I called down there and told them what was going on, and Dr. Bonati heard about it and said, I can help you. They looked at some MRIs.
Mm-hmm.
I went down there. They got me inside of about, I think it was like 4 or 5 days, because I was really hurting bad.
Got it. And
So,
what was that experience like?
Well, when I got there, of course, you don't know what to expect when you're going. I live in Missouri, and that's in Florida, so you're thinking, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah.
But people are great. The facility's great. I don't think I know I've never met anybody with as much knowledge about the spine as Dr. Bonati. I'm going to have a hard time not crying here.
Oh,
that's okay.
You know, when you're in that amount of pain, this is what Dr. Bonati lives for, to really help bring about that resolution, so that when you're suffering like you do, you don't have to be put through any more hassle. Can you describe that evaluation process with Dr. Bonati? Did you have to explain where you were feeling the pain that you were in, or did he kind of understand?
Yeah, let me make one comment
Sure.
before that.
Okay.
The surgeon up here in Missouri basically just said, and I was about 60 at that time, he said, you're getting older, you just need to learn to live with it.
Right.
And when I went down to see Dr. Bonati, I was in a wheelchair.
Wow.
Okay.
They evaluated the all the MRIs, and they're so knowledgeable. He could see it in just a second.
Right.
He said, "Well, I think we can do something here." And I said, "I pray so." Anyway, long story short, they explained to me the procedure, and things went off exactly as they described it.
Right.
And about 2 days later, I believe it was, maybe 3 at the most, I had my first procedure,
Okay.
and that pain in my leg was gone. I still had some recoup time just because I was pretty weak from going through the months of nothing.
Yeah.
But that first procedure took care of the pain.
Well, John, let's actually talk about the procedure itself. So it's conscious IV sedation, which means you're relatively awake, aware, and alert. You're able to watch the procedure as it's being performed. Did you watch?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And what'd you think about that?
Days. It was fine. I'd watch it some, and then other times I wouldn't. You're kind of semi awake, but
Right.
but what you do is Dr. Bonati talked with you during the procedure, and he'll ask if this is when he hits something, does that cause the pain?
Right.
And then he obviously works on that spot and takes the pressure off the nerve. But you can tell when he's on the pressure point, because you can definitely feel the pain be elevated.
Yes.
And then after he's finished, it's not there.
And you understood, of course, why that would be so beneficial as opposed to the general anesthesia.
Being completely out.
Right. And then you'd wake up wondering if you were still in pain or not.
Well, the thing about it is, I don't think you can. If you're involved in it and you can pinpoint where the pain is, it's obviously got to be a much more focused repair than if you don't.
Correct. And you said you were pain-free. Can you describe what that was like? Did you think that would be the case, especially since you had been through that failed back surgery elsewhere before coming to Bonati?
Well, all I can tell you is I was so thankful.
Yeah.
Anybody that's never had a spinal problem with nerves doesn't know how that affects your life. Your quality of life goes to zero.
Okay.
And I really believe that Dr. Bonati saved my life.
Let me ask you just really quick. When you talk about how it was affecting your life, did it affect you like sitting, standing? Can you name some things that it affected so the people that are listening that are suffering like you can really bring that point home to them?
And relate.
Well, any position really. I would look forward to sleeping at night because that was the only time I could get some relief.
Got it.
So mine was sitting, standing, whatever you want to talk. Walking was worse.
Yeah.
I remember trying to rehabilitate myself right after the open back surgery and walking, and I mean it's just ridiculous. But the pain was constant unless I was asleep.
Yeah.
John, trying to contrast the open back surgery to the procedure you had at the Bonati Spine Institute, how quick were you up and walking after you were at the Bonati Spine Institute?
I walked that day. I woke up in the recovery room and had some little refreshment type things that they provided that helped you kind of come out of the anesthesia that you're taking. And then you get up and you walk, and so do you feel better, don't you? And I got up and there wasn't any pain.
Now, you had said with the open back surgery, it was a 2 or 3 month recovery.
And he said he never
And
really
he never-
fully
yes.
recovered.
What kind of,
I didn't recover.
what was
Right.
that recovery time after you had the procedure done at the Bonati Spine Institute?
Dr. Bonati has helped me more than once
Okay.
because of the stenosis, and the recovery time has varied some. one of the recoveries. I was operated on day one, and second day I walked about 3/4 of a mile to go to a Florida State football game.
Nice. And you came in a wheelchair.
Yeah, that was not that time. The first time it was more severe, and it probably took me maybe to really feel what I call normal about a week and a half, maybe something like that.
Now, you first came to the Bonati Spine Institute in a wheelchair. How did you leave?
Yes, sir, I did. I'm just walking like anybody else.
Yeah.
Very nice.
You know, John, something that you said earlier was pretty touching. We've talked to patients. We're almost in our third year anniversary of the show. We've talked to patients who've referred literally hundreds, maybe thousands of people to the Institute, but I don't know that we've ever had a referral from a higher power. So yours is very unique, and we sincerely appreciate your story, and thank you for sharing it with us.
And
You're welcome.
John, I didn't talk to you, man, because you got me emotional through the whole mess.
And that's Dr. Bonati.
Thank you for getting better.
Yeah, I love you for helping me.
Thank you.
We are so glad that you have regained your strength and gotten back in motion. A beautiful photo of you and your grandson. Thank you for taking the time to share your experience with us here on the program.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could help you.
Continued
Thanks a
good
lot, John.
health.
Have a great weekend.
God bless you, John.
Bye-bye. Wow.
It's stories like that make what we do so worth it, and what Dr. Bonati does on a daily basis and his staff at the Bonati Spine Institute worthwhile. If you are suffering in that sort of debilitating pain that can literally bring you to tears, and you're not functioning in your life the way that you used to, you don't have to stick with the pain or be told that nothing can be done, because it certainly can. Reach out to Bonati at Bonati.com. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about GMOs, genetically modified organisms. Make sure you stay tuned. We'll catch you on the flip side of the break. You're listening to American Medicine Today.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for continuing to listen to American Medicine Today. I am Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
I am Ethan Euchre.
You are.
I am.
And that man over there, he is Jeff Wagstaff.
Yes, I am.
And that man over yonder,
he forgot to turn his mic on.
world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute, and he is without his microphone on.
Not anymore.
Thank you for reminding me.
Yes. This is really an important topic, one that we've covered a multitude of times, but we always like to visit this because genetically modified foods is certainly a hot topic. And joining us right now is Caitlin Shetterly, journalist and author of Modified GMOs and the Threat to Our Food, Our Land, Our Future. Thanks for being here, Caitlin.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's exciting to be on the show.
Now, Caitlin, your book is very exhaustive in the sense that it took you a couple of years to write this. You went to different farms, you went to universities. We'll get into all of that stuff, but tell us how it all started, how you and your son, we'll focus on you, but your son as well, started to have symptoms of illness. Tell us about that.
I was sick for about 4 years, and my symptoms were perplexing and autoimmune in nature. I had rashes, headaches, a constant head cold, exhaustion, and arthralgias, or pain throughout my body. And the pain was the hardest thing to take, honestly, especially after my first son was born. I wanted to be there for him, and yet it was hard for me to even button his little shirts with my hands because they ached so much. And I went and saw every doctor you can imagine and spent thousands of dollars I really did not have, and seeing neurologists and, I mean, everybody, allergists, anybody who would pretty much see me. And everybody was stumped and had no idea what was wrong with me. And then I saw an immunologist who, a very Western doctor, actually, who thought he was starting to see an uptick in people with symptoms like these since the advent of GMOs. And he was advising that you go off, that I go off GMO corn in particular because of its proliferation into the American diet.
Wow.
And he wasn't sure if it was the proteins that get created by the GMO itself, by the insertion of a foreign gene. He wasn't sure if it was the pesticides that are inserted into the GMO corn or if it's the pesticides that come with the corn itself, but he felt that something about GMOs was causing illnesses that were hard to diagnose, like mine.
Caitlin, not to interrupt your story, but just a point of clarification. How would we know when we're in the grocery store corn from GMO corn?
You won't know necessarily.
Okay.
Corn, that's a great question. Corn is...
It's in everything.
There's organic corn, of course, and there's corn that's called non-GMO, which doesn't mean it's organic. It will still have been sprayed with pesticides, probably. So the non-GMO label doesn't cover you with that. You know, perhaps the non-GMO verified label. But the problem with corn and all corn, even organic corn, is a problem of pollination, of contamination at the co-ops, contamination because there are field trials of different kinds of GMO corn going on in fields right next to a corn that's, say, organic, and the pollination happens. So contamination is a big issue, and it's pretty hard to find a clean corn source in the country.
It amazed me in the show prep. You're saying that it can be found in everything from coffee cups to the medicines that we take to the toothpaste we use to brush our teeth.
Crazy.
I didn't know.
No.
And as many times as we've covered the subject before, I had no idea.
It's in everything.
Isn't that something the FDA is supposed to regulate?
That's a great question. So what do you mean by regulate? What would they regulate? The fact that it's in everything?
Or label it so that people are aware in case they are suffering with the type of ailments like you and your son did?
Yeah, well, the FDA, so there's a lot of confusion about what the FDA should be doing and shouldn't be doing, and of course there was just the what opponents of GMOs called the DARK Act, which was just the Deny Americans the Right to Know Act, which basically stripped states of making their own GMO laws and really has just sort of muddied the waters, and there's a lot of confusion about labeling and what labeling will mean. Can it include GMOs, or what will natural mean? And whether the non-GMO label, which states the absence of GMOs, will stay as it is. So there's a lot of confusion about what labeling should be on foods. The non-GMO project is it's an independent thing. It's not a government thing.
Correct.
And there are questions about how much oversight the USDA or the FDA has on GMO foods, or whether or not it's the companies themselves that are sort of overseeing themselves.
Caitlin, we're about a minute and a half away from a hard break. I'm dying to know, by eating clean and eliminating processed foods, GMOs, et cetera, did that solve your illness?
It did. It was so strange, and even I didn't believe it. It was almost miraculous. I stopped eating processed foods that had any GMOs, even though I thought I was very healthy eater. And my ailments went away like magic, and so did my young son, who was 2 at the time and had a lot of eczema and allergic symptoms. Right. And our lives totally changed. So how did that happen and why? That's the journey of the book. And in it, I go to the Great Plains and drive across the plains and then our heartland and interview scientists and activists and doctors. And then I went to Europe and traveled with beekeepers. As you know, bees, very important topic right now. Mm-hmm. And then I went to California and talked to scientists about this issue.
What is your diet primarily now?
So we eat primarily all local and organic. We eat a lot of vegetables. We eat a lot of whole grains. Mm-hmm. We eat meat that we procure locally. We eat dairy. But everything is, we try to get foods that are organic, grass-fed beef, grass-fed dairy.
Pesticide-free, I'm assuming.
Pesticide-free.
No antibiotics.
And I say that in the book. I say, I'm really honest about it. I changed my whole lifestyle, and our relationship to food completely changed. Wow. And my family's relationship, the farmer's market on Saturday morning is a huge part of our family existence.
Well, I wish we had more time, Caitlin. I'm so sorry. Maybe we can have you on again to continue to discuss, because this is such an important topic, especially with children being affected, and something especially like eczema. That is something that's hard to control once you get it. Genetically modified foods. This is author Caitlin Shetterly of Modified GMOs and the Threat to Our Food, Our Land, and Our Future. Where can they find your book? Just real quick.
Anywhere books are sold.
Okay, great. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Thank you. It's been a blast.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Make sure you stay tuned, because after the break, we're going to talk about liver disease. You're listening and watching American Medicine Today.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for listening to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Happy to be here.
Jeffrey Wagstaff.
Oh, it sounds like I'm in trouble. Yes, I am.
Our senior fellow. And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the esteemed Bonati Spine Institute. Thanks for sharing your time.
I like this team.
Well, you're going to love this next guest. We need to preface this by saying we filmed him for TV.
Yeah,
we've actually been in the lab.
Yep, we visited Dr. Kusi's lab up at the University of Florida Health.
Yes.
And it's pretty interesting stuff.
Researchers at the University of Florida Health in Gainesville have found a drug used to treat diabetes, has also shown effectiveness against chronic liver disease. And here to discuss this exciting discovery is clinical trial leader, Dr. Kenneth Kuzi. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And like we just mentioned, we got to visit your lab, so we already know all about this stuff. Jeff and Dr. Bonati don't. So we have the upper hand in this interview
That's
here.
what I'm thinking.
Aren't we supposed to start off by saying go Gators?
Go Gators.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
No other way to go.
All right. Now, Dr. Kuzi, this all kind of comes back to, I mean, you do a ton of research
Yes.
on everything, but the thing we focused on is a disease called NASH, and your findings after a trial, you found that a diabetes drug was effective in treating it. So tell us what NASH is and how many people it affects.
Well, NASH stands for an inflammation, chronic inflammation of the liver that happens when fat accumulates in the wrong place. So typically it should be in fat tissue. Unfortunately, sometimes too much in the belly. But it goes to other places. So we know that if you are overweight or obese, or at many times when you have adult onset diabetes, or we call type 2 diabetes, this fat goes to the wrong places. And when it accumulates in the liver, the liver doesn't like it, and it has a chronic inflammation that until recently we thought it wasn't all that bad, but now we know that it can damage the liver, cause what we call fibrosis, scarring of the liver, and can lead to end-stage liver disease, even to liver cancer, and many other problems.
And this has nothing to do with alcohol, right? This isn't...
Absolutely. That's a great question because it's exactly called that way because it doesn't happen if you're drinking too much. It's called non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, stands for fat hepatitis. The fat is an inflammation induced by fat that happens because there are some metabolic abnormalities that happen in diabetes and when you're overweight.
So the one thing I wanted to ask is you have this silent liver disease, and we already know that diabetes treatment has been effective on NASH. So if anyone suffering from diabetes is on the medicine, do they suffer from NASH?
That's an excellent question. So you're hired for my lab whenever I need. Because really that is the issue. So we have people that have this problem, and we have 30 million people with diabetes. We have about 2/3 of adult Americans being overweight or obese, and many of them, we estimate about 2/3 have too much fat in their liver. Now, the good news is not everybody gets this inflammation, but we think that it's about at least 1/3. So we have a large number of people that are not being diagnosed. And that's where programs like this can help patients and their primary care doctors or endocrinologists or liver doctors bring this to the forefront.
So does the FDA stall things? Because right now, that's a medicine that's already on the market. Can you just be prescribing this right now for NASH, for people that have NASH, or do you need to wait until it's approved for that specific cause? Or do you need to have both?
Yeah, well, you have to wait until a drug is approved for a given indication, although doctors can choose to do what they feel is best for their patients. So this drug has been approved now, was approved about 15 years for the treatment of type 2 diabetes. And it's now a generic medication. So it is an effective medication. It reverses the decreased response of the body to insulin, what we call insulin resistance. That's so typical of individuals that have type 2 diabetes. And it has shown to have other benefits on cardiovascular disease, on heart attacks and strokes. And we do think that it's a medication that works in this sense because it prevents that inflammation to go on and on. And in the last issue of the Annals of Internal Medicine, dated September 6th, that is the official journal of the American College of Physicians, we published this trial in which this relatively old medication that helps for your diabetes can really get that fat out of that liver and decrease the inflammation.
Doc, excuse my ignorance, but a follow-up to Kimberly's question. Isn't there a term where if a medicine is approved for single use, a doctor has the ability to apply it to another potential symptom or another disease?
Yes.
Excuse my ignorance. I don't know what that's called, but
No.
I've read about it.
Yeah. You can. I mean, not the FDA is so excited, or that the doctors should be doing that. But here there's not so much of a conflict because many of the patients with diabetes have this inflammation, and the study, about half had what we call pre-diabetes. So your sugars are not in the range that we call diabetes, but they're not really normal. They're in the gray zone. Right. That about 6 to 10% of these patients per year develop full-blown diabetes. And there was a study just very recently in New England, Journal of Medicine in February, that in patients who had a stroke, if they took this medication, it decreased in half their chance of progressing to diabetes. So the medication also prevents diabetes. Now, getting back to the FDA, for a drug to be specifically approved for a given indication, there is a very well-defined path that you have to study a large number of people with that drug for that end. The only real challenge, if a doctor decides to use it for somebody without diabetes, is many times insurance companies will not approve the medication unless it's used under the FDA scope of its utilization.
Okay. Damn insurance companies.
Well, I know, they get in the way of everything. Yeah. Let me ask you, though, if you have a healthy diet and you do exercise, is there any way to relieve that inflammation and help reduce the fat that's caused around the liver?
Yes. So the fat is really inside the liver cells. Each liver cell accumulates too much fat, and those liver cells don't like to have so much fat, and that what kind of is toxic. So the best treatment for if you're overweight or obese, the best treatment for diabetes and for this is losing weight. So if you lose 10% of your weight, of your current weight, suppose that you have an excessive weight, that improves your liver fantastically. If I had to choose, that would be my best treatment. Sure. It's just, as you know, a challenge to achieve.
And Dr. Kuzi, now we're talking specifically about NASH and the drug that's used for diabetes and its effectiveness just for NASH, now, which is non-alcoholic disease. Now, what about people who are chronic alcoholics? Aside from just not drinking at all, which is obviously probably the best prescription, stop drinking, is there any way to reverse alcohol-related cirrhosis and disease of the liver?
Well, it's a great question. So if you chronically drink more than a certain amount of alcohol, you will chronically damage your liver, and women for the same amount of alcohol get a little bit, their liver enzymes are less able per unit of, let's say, alcohol to metabolize it. So in general, if you stop drinking now, your liver always gets better, okay? Or at least it will not continue down the path of significant damage unless it's very, very late. So my advice for any one who has a problem with alcohol is any time that you stop is good, even when it's very advanced. So this is extremely important. Now, this disease happens, NASH, in individuals that don't drink an excessive amount of alcohol. And I'm not saying that you don't drink at all. A glass of wine a day, some studies have shown that it's pretty good for your health. I mean, that's how Mediterranean people, we think, live with less cardiovascular disease. But here, in general, what's happening is something that's independent of alcohol in NASH.
Gotcha. So what's next for your research, Dr. Kuzi, up at UF Health?
So we are now working on updating the guidelines for the treatment of NASH. We had a conference call this week. New guidance will be available at the end of the year. We are now about to submit a new algorithm to a journal called Diabetes Care, which is the official journal of the American Diabetes Association. We now have to get the word out. We want to increase awareness among patients that there are options in addition to weight loss. So don't get me wrong, weight loss is the best thing, not only for NASH, for diabetes, hypertension, lipids. So number one therapy is unquestionably weight loss.
Get off your butt and exercise and change your
Put
diet.
the phones down. Back away from the phones and what do you call the video games? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. What you found will definitely help so many with that silent liver disease. Thank you so much, Dr. Kenneth Kusi, a clinical trial leader over at University of Florida Health.
Thanks, Dr.
Thank
Kusi.
you all for this chance. I'm talking to you, and please, patients, don't get discouraged. Hard to lose weight, but it's the path to a long and happier life.
Perfect.
We agree.
Thanks, doctor.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See the types of amazing things you learn here right on American Medicine Today?
And don't forget, he's going to be on an upcoming episode of the
Yes.
television version of American Medicine Today.
Absolutely. Make sure you stay tuned because coming up after the break, we'll hear what's new in American Medicine Today. Stay tuned.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for joining us for American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by our friends Ethan Euchre.
Glad to be here.
Jeff Wagstaff.
Howdy, howdy.
And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati.
Hello.
Now it's time to see what Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi, President Obama, and the Democrats have simmering in Washington, D.C. Let's see what's cooking in Barack's crock.
Yeah, it stinks. And it's been doing so for quite some time. Let's talk about Obamacare enrollees and how now they're facing much fewer choices than they already were.
Higher costs. So, I don't want to say it in this way, but you know, I want to be able to make the people understand that honesty, responsibility, and hard worker people always are compensated. Always they succeed. The ones that they are receiving governmental help, the people that they are looking for an easy way, the people that they are lazy, they always remain at the bottom of the poll. Obamacare is nothing more than a scam. It's a scam created by the president with an ego trip with his name. It's a scam created by the Democrats to the group that they lead. Unfortunately, that group is a group of zombies. They don't wake up.
Although, for a quick side note, Doc, Obamacare, the term, was coined by conservatives who were against it to sort of make fun of the fact that it's a terrible program. You know what I mean? It's officially called the ACA, the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
Obama didn't attack
his
own name on it because he's an egomaniac, even though he really is.
Yeah, but
he kept it, and he calls it his own. Like,
yeah, I mean,
he kept it.
He likes his name on it.
And no matter what we call it now, one thing can be clear.
Yeah.
It is now ineffective and unaffordable for the people in it and for the country.
It's the unavoidable.
Well, what you need to understand that we still have a country that has an intelligent management, despite that we have a horrendous governmental management actually now. But the insurance companies, no matter what, I knew that they were going to wake up.
Okay.
I knew that the day number one that they proposed this type of a program, they are going to practically shift medicine. And medicine, once it's being touched by the politicians, always a shift.
Correct.
And that shift is always affecting the quote-unquote people that the Democrats want to protect.
Right.
So all the constituency,
you mean their voter base?
Even their voter base. So, but the zombies continue working with the program, and they don't wake up.
Right.
And one of the things that is happening with insurance companies is you have a business, and the business immediately has shareholders, and the shareholders goes, hey, you may be the CEO, but you need to change the direction of this. We're losing billions of dollars.
Right.
Well, this happened. And this year, the best insurance in the country with one of the best CEOs. The CEO of United Healthcare is a brilliant strategist. Is plays practically chess with their product.
Okay.
He came out from it. He refused to continue. And then you always are followers when they start to see that people start to say, you're not doing a good job. So instead to lose their position, Blue Cross and Blue Shield follow, and Humana follow, and Aetna follow. And suddenly you see...
And Cigna. I think even Cigna recently.
But really? Cigna, I think, had very little involvement.
Right.
Now, what really happened with that is 36% of the population of Obamacare is going to suffer a horrible jolt on the next year.
Right.
And one of the things is going to be one player. That's going to be one insurer. There's no competition on it.
Right.
So if you have Obamacare next year, you only have one option.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's around.
No, that's a move to more socialized medicine.
Yes, this is a direction of Obamacare.
Right.
And it's a socialized medicine. Well, socialized medicine is a fraud. Okay, they cannot perform, they don't have funds, they don't have a way to solve the problems, so they rob Peter to pay Paul, and the next thing that happens is the program fails.
Right.
We're a half a step away from single-payer insurance, what was Obama's original objective. I wonder if when he introduced Obamacare, he knew it would fail to drive us to a path of single-payer.
Conspiracy theories, I like it.
No, he's not so he's not so intelligent.
But one of their major reasons for abandoning everything, if you don't mind, just so I can quickly summarize, it had to do with the study that Blue Cross Blue Shield did. And out of the study, they took a look at millions of enrollees across the country, and they found that Obamacare members have higher rates of more costly illnesses, like diabetes, depression, hypertension, heart disease, HIV, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Obama himself say HIV wasn't a problem anymore? And hepatitis C.
It's been wiped out.
Well,
yeah.
If you ask Obama.
Really, what you are discussing here is why this program failed.
Right.
And this program failed for one of the things is because the cost
government run.
Absolutely, they don't have management, number one. But number two is because you cannot put people who is in a really very unhealthy situation and offer them all the guarantees. They overuse the hospitals, they overuse the clinics, they overuse the medication, they overuse the appointments, and then all these things makes the insurance companies unable to cover, and they don't have a way to recover that money, so they quit.
And that wraps up Barack's Croc. Make sure you check us out on Facebook. Like us on Facebook, American Medicine Today, and tweet at Dr. Bonati using hashtag American Medicine Today or hashtag AMT. I guess my tweeter over there doesn't work.
He was licking his lips, getting ready to whistle for
and check us out nationally on Bloomberg Saturdays at 6. We'll see you next time. And hang out. If you're an affiliate, make sure you stay tuned. We'll have more. You're listening to American Medicine Today.
This is the first time that I am pain free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.